Okay, now as you can see here, I'm about to go ahead and paint this back side of this door. The other side has already been painted the flat black. But you can see here there's plenty of scratch marks here, lots of grit after I've sanded it. Plenty of stuff for the paint to grip onto. That's why I said in this case primer's probably not even a necessity. This does come with a coating on it as well, an anti-rust coating. So once you scratch that up pretty good, your paint's going to stick really, really well. Now what I suggest is taking a damp cloth, like a paper towel, something that's just slightly damp, right before going out and painting. And this kind of acts as like a tack cloth. I didn't actually get any tack cloth, but what you can do is just wipe down the surface of the item that you're going to paint real quick to make sure that it's just free of lint and any external dust that you might have gotten on it from the room that you've been storing it in. Anything like that, just wipe it down real quick. And this will make your painting process a whole lot easier, because as you're painting you won't see any little dust nibs or anything in it, or any little hairs that got on it. It's best just to make sure. You're going to let this dry for probably about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, make sure that any dampness that was there is evaporated, and then you can go ahead and continue on to the outer coating, which is what I'll be showing you guys in just a second. Okay guys, what I've done here is I've brought out one side of the case to the back of my porch here. I've got my cloth down to protect my porch while I paint. And I've got the side of the case supported so that it is elevated above the cloth, so that lint doesn't splash up from any air pressure from the can and bring cloth up or dust or dander up onto the case while I'm painting it. You can see this is my back porch here coming off of my apartment. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to be holding the camera with one hand and painting with the other. Hopefully the video comes out smooth. I've already shaken up the paint so I can get this going quickly. So basically what I'm going to be doing here is hopefully getting the video here so you guys can see what I'm doing with the paint strokes. Here we go. And you'll notice that as I go back and forth from each corner, I'm letting go of the trigger as I come back up off of it, overlapping each stroke. It's very easy. Once you get the hang of it, you can do some practice on like a flat piece of cardboard or on an old piece of wood or something if you want first to get the flow down. The trick here is to keep the layer that you paint wet so that as you paint the next layer, it blends smoothly with the last layer you just painted. So as you can see here, that's one complete layer, and then I do a crisscross pattern across, starting from up and down now. Okay, so that right there is basically 2 layers up and down across the entire case. Now what you want to do is go around the edges and make sure you get the edges all good. Okay, so there you have it. That's one complete case side painted with flat black. And if you come over here, You can see here my reflections in it. Once this dries flat, it will actually be a very dull finish, not so glossy and shiny. You might want to have to go back through anywhere where there's any grooves that you might have missed. But as you can see, it's a very smooth finish. And like I said, just stroke back and forth, 1, 2, and let your hand off the trigger as you come back from each side of the case. Like I said, I went back and forth all the way up, and then I went back and cross-hatched it back and forth the long ways. So remember those steps. Should be just fine. Let it dry and go on to your clear coat. You want to let this case dry for probably about anywhere between 8 to 12 hours. Okay, as you guys can see, I've got the other case panel out here, and this is the inside of the door. This is the one that I've sanded with the metal to give it a nice good grit there. Remember, as you're going over this, when you go back to do the sideways overlap and you're cross hatching it, you're going to fill in any lines that you might have missed or any little spots. Okay, I've remounted a new can of paint here, and we're going to continue on from where we left off. As you can see, the strokes are just now starting to dry at the bottom. Still probably pretty wet up here at the top. We're going to continue on spraying just like we just did before. And remember, we're going to overlap each stroke as we go. Let the trigger off at the end of each corner so you're not wasting paint and you're not sending excess paint all over the place. You can spray down on the inside there. Get the inside of any crevices that you might have missed with your overlap. See back here, you've got this back spot. Gotta make sure we get in there. Alright, so now that's one up and down hatch lines all the way up and top, and now we're going to do back and forth long ways. And remember, just overlap your strokes as you go. 1/2 inch up each stroke. Alright guys, what you're seeing here is the finished product of the flat black paint job that I just did on the two case sides. You have one side which is already dry to the touch. You can see that the glossy finish that we have over here on the freshly painted one has now dried to a haze here. So this is now dry to the touch. It's not functional yet and won't be for at least 8 hours as far as reassembly is concerned. And over here you've got the wet surface, which was just being finished with its last coating probably about 7 minutes ago. And what I've done is I've brought both pieces in here and set them to dry on an elevated surface on my actual stove griddle, the grills in my stove. And then I've got again the air vent on up here, and that's just pulling the fumes up through the air vent and out the top. So again, glossy, not yet fully dry, and here we have the dried to a haze, and this is probably dry to a touch by now, and we're going to let both of these dry for quite some time before we do anything further with them, most likely till tomorrow. So I will see you guys then. Talk to you later.